the IG overstep is bound, because as the Inspector General of Police, your duty is, you are not supposed to be biased, you are not supposed to be known, you are not supposed to be, because the states are, the state electoral body are independent of their own. Going to court, was the court a state court, or is it the same Court of Appeal, the same Supreme Court? We are getting to a time when the Supreme Court is even supposed not to be just one court based in Abuja, controlled by somebody. We are supposed, the judiciary is an arm of government of its own. Till the day we notice and know that they are there to fight a common cause, not the cause of a sitting government, it will be better for Nigerians. But if we continue to say this is what happens and the hierarchy is being abused, and that is why my cry for security laws. If we have security laws, the Inspector General of Police will not have gone that far. But we don't have security laws. What we have here is the penal code, the criminal code, and the Constitution guiding us. If we have security laws, the Inspector General of Police will not even go near there, because there is penalty for everything you do. But we don't have security laws, so there is no penalties. So everybody overplay what is supposed to be, what is supposed not to be played. I think that was the situation that appeared in Rivers State.
A whole lot of concern. And when you look at the outcome recently that I've just had, where it looks like in Akwa Ibom, out of peace, APC have actually won in Teti local government area, and it just won for APC. That those that are also reacting. But let's just quickly have a rundown and a review of that. We can see the result right on the screen, where PDP have been declared the winner for Teti local government area in Akwa Ibom. Victor Thompson is a political commentator. He joins us live from Uyo. Let's get an understanding. I'm here with Prof, who is, of course, reviewing some of this issue. Give us an understanding about the outcome in Uyo, because those are probably having a concern about how this election, I mean, do we have ballot boxes snatching? Do we had voters intimidation by the police? What did the experience really look like? We'll try as much as possible to get Victor to make a comment on that. Prof, now when you look at some of these outcomes, that those are probably saying, if we must get elections right, should we rather allow the elections to be conducted by INEC? Because those are probably saying governors are intimidating, are probably frustrating the process. They are taking it all. The ruling party in the state happens to influence the process, and it's not the election that is being conducted at grassroots. That's the concern of some persons.
If you say INEC should take it all, on what basis is INEC going to take it all? On the basis that we don't have chief executives in the states, or on the basis that we are going to amend the Constitution? Because if we say that, that means we really have to go back, make a comprehensive sitting which involve the state assemblies and the national assemblies. If we don't bring this together and for them to have a joint session, definitely we are not hitting it the way we are supposed to hit it. So the state assemblies and the national assemblies to have a joint meeting and come up with a blueprint or a white paper that states that, okay, from now the state independent electoral commission should collapse into the independent national electoral commission. If we don't do that, then we are still going back, because we are not operating a federation where the states are being carried out.
All right, I've just been told Victor Thompson, political commentator, joins us from Uyo. Quickly, just give us an understanding about the exercise yesterday. We saw that the election took place in Akwa Ibom, but probably what is the outcome and what was the process like?
Well, thank you very much, Edikan, and it's nice to be here again. What happened yesterday in Akwa Ibom State, to say the least, was just a replay of a script that had already been written and decided. So we are not surprised at the outcome, and we are even surprised that one local government was given to the opposition in the states. Now, in my units, and there are lots of units in my local government, Orogonam, there are lots of units, if not all 90% of the units, at least 80% of the units in Ibionibom, there were no elections. There were no elections in 80% of the units, Oborokara. Those are places that I know about. I don't want to talk about other places that I don't know about. So what happened yesterday? In fact, we are even surprised that those units had results, because I was personally there at the architect office, both in Uyo and in my local government, to monitor the distribution of election materials. And personally, I witnessed how election materials were carted away by some big wigs in the local governments. Some of them would just stealthily carry the election materials, hide it under something, take it in their car, and move away with heavy security. So what happened yesterday was a sham, to say the least, because I've never seen such an election before, and it should not be accepted in a sane society.
Those who are having a concern that the victims today were once those who were beneficiaries of rigging. There are also a comparison that it has always been the situation where the ruling party keeps on, taking it all. Should you rather say that there is still a continuation of going back on the wrong processes rather than developing how we can get elections right in the country?
Yes, the federal government did well by granting financial autonomy to the local government, but financial autonomy without political autonomy is a very big mistake, because that financial autonomy will be controlled by the wrong hands. And if there should be a reform in our electoral processes, especially at the grassroots, it is very important, because the local government and the wards are the closest arms of government to the people. So we cannot afford to make mistakes. We cannot afford to allow these things to be controlled by one set of people. I mean, right now, whoever the state government wants in power, those are the people that will definitely come to power, because the election process cannot be credible. So I am advocating, I am suggesting that we should come up with an electoral body that will be independent. Even if some people are saying the elections should be controlled by INEC and all of that, it's one way. And another way is by establishing a local government electoral body that will be focused on conducting elections at the grassroots. An independent body that is not controlled by the federal government, it is not controlled by the states. So it is only when we give that autonomy, that freedom for the people in the grassroots to elect their leaders, that is when we will see a better administration at the lowest level of of governance.
When you look at the one APC victory in that of Isianudem, those are probably having a concern if it's just a political peace and how far this can be sustained. If in one way or the other, it's also a way of trying to take see how they can settle the Senate president due to his position in the country. What is your concern about that? Was that an allocation? Because from all I gathered, there was already a vote declared for the PDP candidate in that local government. But how come that we have APC that were later declared?
Well, what is happening with the Synodom is a very, very poor attempt at controlling the damage that has been done. I mean, a result had been announced. You claimed that the APC candidate only got 680 something votes, while the PDP candidate had 55,600 and something votes. What kind of magic can you actually manufacture such numbers? What kind of magic will you do to manufacture such numbers in the stronghold of Senator Godswill Oboro-Akpabio, the Senate President? It is laughable. So maybe they had realized that they have goofed big time, and they decided to do a little bit of damage control. And it is a very pitiable situation to find ourselves as a state in 2024, that a result can be announced and an acclaimed winner won by over 55,000 votes. And then all of a sudden, you say that the other person that had less than 700 votes is the winner. I'm of the opinion that they should have allowed that result to be there so that it will be clear to the whole world what is actually happening in Akwa Ibom State. Even a blind person in this country can see and know that it is not possible for APC to lose woefully in a Synodom. It is not possible. It's not possible. So it was a very, very wrong, terrible miscalculation on the part of the ruling party in the States. And it is a very big embarrassment too. Very, very big one.
Prof, you've seen outcome in Akwa Ibom. It looks that it was not an election, but a way of selection, and not just a selection, but they later have to apportion vote to people. From the outcome we've seen, because I also got the result, the public secretary of the party, PDP, had already given a roundup of the result, telling the press that PDP has won 31 over 31. Very suddenly, a miraculous move to allocate one local government to the Senate president. How do we see this in democracy?
Well, just as I've said earlier before, we don't have a political party. So when we don't have a political party, you have no cause to blame a party. What we have is a political platform. Till the day we have a political party, we will remain in this hold on. Because if Eno, who is the governor of Akwa Ibom State, for example, has spent some billions to become the governor and financed by some certain class of people, then he has to play the game to his own rules. And that is what is even happening in the federal level, not just the states. So if you see what has happened in Edo election and you see what is happening in the state, it's not a shock. So if you go back and know that this is a party, then you know who to reprimand. In a situation where we don't have a party, the party leadership is weak, because automatically the governor of the state is the leader of the party in the state. Just as in the federal system, where the president is the leader of the party in the federal level. So you don't dictate for people. It's an investment circle. I wouldn't invest my energy and my finances and allow somebody to come and dictate for me how I got there. But if the process has been taken from the world level to the local government level to the state level and financed by the party, you will not misbehave. You will be reminded. You will be called. If Joe Biden was a Nigerian, the call for him to not to run will not be there. He will have run because it is his own finances. Nobody cares whether the age or his head or anything is wrong with him. So when we want to compare, we shouldn't compare our system with the system of the imperialist or the colonialist or whatever you call them. We should look at our own system, because that is where we need the laws that bind us together. We don't have laws that bind us together. Just as I just said, nobody here can tell us about security laws because there is none. And there are so many laws that the National Assemblies, because they are not well trained, has unable to bring up to form a nation that we are. Just as because I've said earlier that we are not an independent nation, we are just a nation. So with the nation we are, we have to classify what nation and where are we moving to.
Moving to. All right, Prof. Mr. Victor, let me get back to you because it looks that if we must go by what we have seen and the indications of elections generally, we are bothered because you had highlighted that this is the financial autonomy era. So we cannot continue to do the same thing that probably what the governors used to do before. We used to see, because governors were the one literally controlling the state resources, and that was why they had to unpick who is the chairman of the local government. But now that we have a financial autonomy, are you bothered of mismanagement of funds? Is our institution, in terms of those that are to checkmate the excesses of these local government chairmen that have just been sworn in, do you feel that it's strong enough? We have not finished the issues in the state, we've not finished the issue in the national. How far can we now begin to pursue those that will cut away people's allocation, all in the name of being the local government chairman?
Okay. As long as we are giving so much financial power to the local government without giving them political power to decide who leads them, as long as the state governors keep deciding who leads them, then you can be sure that whatever monies that are meant for the local government will not go straight to the people in the grassroots, will not be able to be used to serve the people in the grassroots, because that is going to be a serious concern. I mean, we've had this issue of governors mismanaging funds that are meant for the local governments. And at the end of the day, a paltry sum. In fact, there was a situation in the other administration where local government chairmen were collecting money at the end of the month just to cut the grasses in the council and clean up the council. There was nothing going to the people, nothing going into projects, nothing managed by the local government councils. And now that so much financial power is given to these people that are still controlled by this same set of people, it's going to be a catastrophe, I can assure you, because I don't see how we are going to experience change, at least for these first 3 or 4 years, as the case may be. So, like I said, we need to remove that power from the hands of the governors. They shouldn't be able to decide who gets there. The people at the grassroots should be able to decide who gets there. And it will also translate to a more credible electoral process in the general elections. Because if the representative, if the chairman of the local government councils are elected by the people who have been given power to elect their leaders, it means that there will be check and balances at the local government level, and also in the general election. It is not going to be business as usual, because as long as the people have the power at the grassroots, they will be able to exercise their power at the state level, because the power has now been taken away from the hands of a few elites. So Nigeria will be better if we give this power, if we reform the electoral policies surrounding how leaders are recruited at the grassroots levels. It will affect the financial fortunes of the people at the grassroots. It will also affect the political fortunes of the people of the grassroots, and at large, the entire state and even the country.
Thompson, a political commentator, for joining us on the program tonight. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, Prof, just before we wrap up, there is a power change in Rivers State now. The governor seems to be in charge. What is your concern about that? It looks that, on the other hand, they've succeeded in going against the will of the PDP and APC. And now it looks that the governor is talking to that I'm in charge of Rivers State. Those that are concerned, is this about the structure for 2027? Is it about the structure to develop Rivers State? Just quickly before we wrap up on the program.
Well, you should see the way the issues are being addressed when people say the local government chairman and the councillors, the autonomy, the autonomy given to, financial autonomy given to the local governments. What is here now is that you cannot build a fundamental work pattern without bringing the people together. And I think that was what was happening in Rivers, who controls the grassroots. And who control the grassroots hold the Jakula of the state. And Fubura has played a very smart one that nobody was expecting. I think every other gladiator was not expecting that Fubura is going to play it this way. But we should also understand that no matter the rules you played in the growth templates, there is superior templates that also brought you up. And in getting you up does not mean that those superior templates have not been there. So when you are playing to the gallery, you should also understand that these superior templates are existing. That was what went wrong in Rivers. And now that this has been settled, I think APP has taken over the whole place. The PDP has to go and relax. The APC has to go and relax. So we now know, since APP has no strong hold in Rivers, where would these people collapse to? That is the next step. Are they going to collapse into APC later, or they are going to collapse into PDP later? Because I see nowhere APP is going to have a hold in that scenario.
All right,
and for Fubura, I would say he has to sit tight and draw a roadmap on the developmental templates in the state. That will be what he can sit on. Because most of our executives really don't care about the legacy they are leaving behind, which is very, very wrong.
All right, Prof.
But I congratulate Benue, Akwa Ibom, and Rivers State
for a peaceful election.
For a peaceful election.
At least a peaceful one right there.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Prof, for your thoughts. And that's where we wrap it up on the program, Big Talk. We appreciate you for joining us tonight. See you again tomorrow. We'll look at other issues. I am Edikan Michael.